Good morning. Today we are moving into our next unit. We took that test before Christmas break, and some of us were able to get caught up on retakes. Some of us still have practice work and retakes to do, because I think we only had one retake day that week before that people could do it. So if you want to stay after Wednesday and Thursday to get help with those practice works, get caught up on some of those retakes, I am after school Wednesday and Thursday. So if you have multiple retakes to do, you might want to try staying after one of those days. We will have a retake day on Friday, but if you have a lot of retakes to do, plan on staying after so we can get caught up on those. All right, so today we are starting with CO36. I can interpret and write mathematical and algebraic expressions with addition and subtraction. Whew, there's a lot in that objective. So we're going to break it down on what that actually means. First thing we have to know is what is an expression? A mathematical expression, that algebraic expression is a mathematical statement. So it's not the same thing as an equation. There is not an equal sign. Okay, so a statement doesn't have the equal sign, so just know that. Translating a verbal phrase into a mathematical expression and vice versa can be difficult because it's almost like going from one language to another. Knowing what pickle means in Spanish is like knowing which operation difference represents. So we're going to fill out the chart for addition and subtraction to help us learn and remember some terms. So we're going to be thinking about different words that mean we're going to be adding. So what would be a term that might mean addition? Rhoda?
More than?
What might be another one?
Sum.
The sum. When we're finding the sum of two numbers, it means we are adding them together. The sum is the answer of adding two numbers together. What's another term that we've heard? Anybody over here have some thoughts? Go ahead. We could say more than, also greater than. Haley?
Plus.
Plus. One more word I'm looking for, Jack.
Increase.
We could say increase. We can also say the total. When we want to find the total of something, we are adding them together. Now let's think about subtraction. What are some words that mean we're going to subtract? Michael? Well, it's actually going to be a little bit more than just subtract. We could say subtracted by. So 10 subtracted by 7 would give us an answer of 3. We have to be careful because it could also be worded the opposite way. Subtracted from. Now I'm going to put a little star next to that one. Because when we say subtracted from, if I say 10 subtracted from 7, that would be 7 minus 10, right? 10 subtracted from 7. We have to put that 7 first because we have to take 10 away from it. But if I say 10 subtracted by 7, we put that 10 first. So I'm putting this little star here by the subtracted from, I want you to put a star next to that one because it's a reminder for us that's the one where we have to put the second number first. There's another one that we have to put that second number first, and that's when we say less than. So I'm putting a star next to that one also. If I say 10 less than 7, I have to start with the 7 and see what 10 less than is. I have to subtract that 10 from it. So these two verbal phrases, we're going to put stars next to because it means we have to reverse the order of the numbers as they're written. Okay. What's another term that means subtraction? Fernanda?
Difference between.
Difference. Just like the sum was when the answer when we add two numbers together, the difference is the answer when we subtract two numbers. So when we say what's the difference of 10 and 7, that would be 10 minus 7. Do you have another one, Michael?
No, I was just going to say, I was going to say difference, but I missed it. I was thinking
Ah. Does anybody have any others that they can think of? Okay, these are the 4 that I have listed also. So we have some different terms that mean addition, some different terms that mean subtraction. There may be others that we discover that mean subtraction or addition, and we can add those to our chart as we go. So now that we know our verbal phrases, that's what these are in the chart. These are the verbal phrases, how we say it out loud. Then the mathematical expression is how you actually write it. So remember that a number is an unknown value and is represented by a variable. You may use any letter of the alphabet that you choose. A lot of times, I use a letter that kind of goes along with it. So if I say a number, I'm going to use the letter N. So if I were to say 7 more than a number, my expression would look like 7 more than a number, right? So we're going to use that N. I use the N because number starts with N. You could use any letter you want. Okay. But when we see a number, we know it means we're going to put a letter. And when we're looking at an expression and we see a letter, we're going to write it out as a number. Okay. It doesn't matter in what order numbers are added. 7 plus 3 equals the same thing as 3 plus 7. Right? So it doesn't matter the order we put them in, you're going to get the same answer. But, like I was explaining up here, the order does matter when we subtract. 10 minus 8 is not the same as 8 minus 10. We work with negative numbers. We're in big kid math, right? The order matters when we subtract. So that's why I starred these, so we know we have to flip the order with those two verbal phrases. Really think about phrases like subtracted from and less than, and check your order. Okay? So have those two starred, circled, marked off so you know those are the two you have to flip. So let's look at how we're going to use this information. So in this first section, it says write each word phrase as a mathematical expression. Does it say that we have to do the math? No. We're not putting equal signs. We're not doing the math. We're just putting it as an expression. So if we have 58 more than 13, how would I write that as an expression? I'm going to use numbers and symbols when I write that expression. What would that look like, Michael?
58 plus 13.
58 plus 13. That's all we have to do. Okay, so we're gonna look for those key words that would be in the table up above and know, are we adding or are we subtracting? If we're adding, we know the order doesn't matter. 58 plus 13, 13 plus 58, you're still gonna get credit for it. But with the subtraction, be careful when we see something like less than. That's one that we starred. So if it's 19 less than a number, it's gonna look a little different than a number minus 19. Right? So be careful when you have to flip them. We do have minus listed down here. Is that going to be addition or subtraction? Subtraction. So you can add that minus under the subtraction table because we didn't put minus on there. So you can add that one under because we know that means subtraction. Any questions on how to write an expression? So again, I do not want to see equals this number. We are only taking that verbal phrase, those words, and putting it into the expression. No math. Just write the expression. Then let's look at our second page. At the top, we're going to do the opposite. Write a mathematical expression as a word phrase. So now we're using words and we have to write it out. You're going to get to pick which of those verbal phrases from that table that you want to use. Okay? So if the flipping back and forth with the less than and subtracted from gets a little confusing, don't use that verbal phrase. Use difference or use minus. Okay? Use one of the verbal phrases that you're more comfortable with. So if we look at our first expression, who can give me an example of a verbal phrase we could put? Fernanda.
475 less than 101.
475 less than 801. Is that the only answer we can have? No. What's another verbal phrase we could put for that means the exact same thing? Who can come up with a different verbal phrase? Rhoda.
475 subtracted by.
475 subtracted.
No, the other way around.
Yeah. If we want to say subtracted by, we want to put that 801 first, and then we're subtracting by 475. Okay. They both work. They mean the exact same thing. There's not just one answer when we're writing off the verbal phrase. Let's look at our second one. Or, you know what, let's go straight below. Let's do an addition one. What would an expression be for this one with the 15? Haley.
A number more than 15.
A number more than 15. We could have said 15 more than a number. Remember, the order doesn't matter when we add. So I would accept either way, a number more than 15 or 15 more than a number. And yes, we have to write out a number. You can't just put n. You have to tell me, what does n mean? N means a number. What would be another verbal phrase that means the same thing? Jack?
15 more than a number?
Use a different word from the table.
A number greater than 15.
A number greater than 15. Okay. A number plus 15. 15 plus the sum of 15 and a number. Those are all verbal phrases that would work. You only have to write one. You have to know which words to use for the plus, which words to use for the minus. Any questions on writing a verbal phrase? All right, let's look at the bottom. Answer each question. Which is greater, the sum of 5 and 15 or the difference of 30 and 9? So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to take that verbal phrase and write it as an expression and then answer it. So if it says the sum of 5 and 15, what would that expression look like? The sum of 5 and 15. Fernanda.
5 plus 15.
5 plus 15. What is 5 plus 15? Presley. 20. Then we have the difference of 30 and 9. What does that expression look like, Leo? 30 minus 9. What is 30 minus 9, Joy? 21. So now that I figured out what the expressions are, and I did the math, can I answer the question? Which is greater? Which one is greater? The sum of 5 and 15 or the difference of 30 and 9? Oh my goodness, one person can answer that? Which one's greater, 20 or 21? Which is bigger number? Matt? 21. So I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna circle that one. That's the greater one. Does that make sense? So you're going to look at all the questions. You're gonna figure out how to answer them and answer it. Then on the bottom it says, how is an expression different from an equation? You're going to write it out using your words. I did talk about it. I said this is an expression, so we don't do certain things. So see if you can remember what an expression is, okay? And make sure you write it out. Any questions on our work for today? Now, it's the first objective of the unit. They tend to be a little bit lighter, easier as we're getting into our unit. We will be getting into more complicated algebra in this unit. But we're starting off with a little bit easier. It's not going to take us a whole lot of time to write these out. When you finish, you can come check with me, make sure that you did it correctly or have any questions answered. And then I want us working on that math packet number 6. Okay, everybody should have packet number 6. I had several found throughout the room with no names before Christmas break. So this is your chance, when you're done with your work, everybody pulls out that packet number 6 and works on it. If you don't have yours and you seriously cannot find it anywhere, and you think you might be one of the ones that left it on the table and put your name on it, come up and see me. Okay? If you have your summary sheet signed from that test we took the week before Christmas, if it's signed, turn it into the blue tray. If you haven't gotten it signed yet, because we just had it done right before Christmas, make sure you get it signed. It's due by Friday. So get that summary sheet signed. I think it's Friday. Leo, what date does it say that it's due? Yeah, so it's due on Friday. So make sure you get your summary sheet signed. You can also, once you made sure that you have your math packet, you can work on practice work for those retakes. Like I said, some of us might stay after school Wednesday or Thursday to work on retakes. Some of us might or just do it if you only have 1 or 2 retakes. You'll just do it in class on Friday. Get those practice works done and turned in so we know we will be able to get those retakes done. If you are watching this at home, I hope you are well, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.